Hey guys, HelpingHans here, bringing you the second part of a balanced discussion looking at the potential changes that may be implemented in Company Heroes 3. This has been put together by the community. Hopefully the Relic sees this and implements a lot of these changes. Without further ado, here's part 2. Right, we'll go on Mech Assault. Ability cost increase combat boost nerf. Remove in combat repairs, replace it with combat buffs for mechanized units. Oh yeah, totally. I didn't even realize that. If that repairs while pushing forward, then yeah, it needs to know. I never use that ability. So yeah, I agree. Not sure what buffs it would be, but yeah. Right, what are we on next? This is so honestly Americans now finally. Right. Can I add another I want to go right here and then add a new cell for pioneers. Can we please get a cell? Can we get a cell for pioneers, guys? Am I the only one that feels like pioneers need a buff for Vermont before we get onto USF? Add it at the end. I really feel like pioneers because I kind of want more openings for Vermont with pioneer. You literally never see people with pioneer spam. I tried to do it a couple of times when Co 3 first came out and had very limited success with it. But I feel like if they were buffed up a little bit more, you might see more people trying to do it, and it would add for another interesting maybe some type of build for Axis players. And you never see people try and go pioneer spam. It just doesn't work, and I miss it. I used to love doing that in Company Heroes 1. All right, we'll go on to USF now. Right then. So, engineer squad manpower costs reduced to 160, and assault engineers remains 200. Cost barrier for engineers too high for USF. For a unit effectively loses in combat to everything except a pioneer. Since engineers are not a start unit for USF, they should be more accessible. The engineers being cheaper would also encourage more mechanized play from USF players. That's true, though they still can upgrade the flamethrower. I feel like I can see why Demai wants this changed because he's probably like, dude, I need my engineer to repair and I want them cheaper. I need them out. I need to be able to make a cheap engineer squad. But at the same time, I feel like doing this would mean that there's no penalty for USF players having to go for the engineer because I feel like right now they're all Americans are, especially in the early game and with their rifles and stuff, they're outperforming Axis, I think. I think Vermont at least against Grenz. And, they're just overwhelmed with the bars and stuff, and then doing, them having to go get the engineer squad out kind of slows them down a bit, which is kind of needed, maybe. So doing this just makes gives Americans a cheaper unit that they need because this is such an important unit. Americans have to have an engineer squad, right? You need the sweeper. You need maybe the flamethrower out. You kind of want to get two of them, and making them cheaper will allow this. But I don't know, man. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with this. I think 180 would probably be, if anything, it's too much of a reduction in manpower. Almost bringing them down to the same price as Pioneers, which is 125. So I would disagree personally on this. Probably, I don't even feel like they should be taking down even any manpower personally. I don't know, man. I still feel like they're not that expensive at 200. I think that's 190 push, I think. I feel like, yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's my reasoning there. The sniper encounter increase. So I see, both snipers here have been suggested by the Wehrmacht and the American sniper. Both want a 20 health buff. It's too easy to pick up, especially with ambush units. It should be easy to hit than other squads when spotted, but could also use a bit more durability. So 20 HP sniper buff to both snipers. I don't know, man. They are quite squishy. And you don't really see snipers being used much at all because of how squishy they are. But I worry this is just going to mean that everyone's going to start spamming snipers again and we'll have that horrible sniper meta. Because I think most people hate fighting snipers, right? It's annoying because they just pick away and you can't get close and killing them off. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I mean, yeah, snipers maybe a bit too easy at the moment. I'm gonna say agree, but I don't know. I agree, but worry about how easy it may play. Potentially, I don't know. Something like that, sniper spams and stuff like that. Okay, Captain Retinue. Unit availability, improved costs, increased nerve. Available to all support centers. No longer is free. Built from the HQ 200 manpower. This free unit advantage makes infantry support center already far the most restricted option and even dominant more choice. Yes. Instead of punishing players by not providing them with access to the captain but not going for support center, allow them to the freedom to build it from the base. The captain is so important as well, actually, I think, because it has that, it gives a sprint to a unit, it has the off-map ability, and it has it makes it like a retreat point as well, like the major in Company Heroes 3, Company Heroes 2. And having only in the infantry makes it, you don't really want to go for the other ones for it. So yeah, definitely make it cost 200 manpower though. It has such great utility though, and it has the free LMG. Maybe make it 200 manpower, but it has to buy the LMG. Yeah, I think that might make it. Yeah, because it has that such a great utility. It's like the artillery officer with great utility there. I feel like the captain has a better utility with all its other abilities. Yeah, I will agree. Though I would also maybe remove the free LMG upgrade and make it cost 60 munitions. Something like that, I think. Right, onto the Sherman. Right, utility costs, decreased damage. It's buff. Munitions cost for HE shells decreased from 45 to 30. Scatter reduced, AoE reduced. Regular Sherman isn't very impressive in fighting enemy infantry. The bulldozer simply does the job better while having better armor and more HP. Yeah. Go on then. I don't know why the Sherman isn't like the Sherman in Code 2, to be honest. Right? Because like being able to switch from AP to HE, I kind of like that aspect in Code 2 where you kept on doing that. I would prefer, if personally, I think I agree with those changes, but I would just make it so that it switches back to AP and HE. I agree, but personally wish it was more like Code 2 Sherman with having the ability to switch between HE and AP.
Command points are available.
All tanks should have it. That's an interesting one for you guys. What do you think? Do you think every tank, like Panzer IVs, Panzer IIIs, maybe not like dedicated tank destroyers like Marders and stuff, but do you think that they all should have the option to switch? Like those medium tanks that switch from HE to AP? Quite a few yeses. Elpan, straight up, nah. So I'm thinking things like the Marder 2, Marder 3, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's not an instant thing because it's a strategic choice with you switching the shell over, right? It takes a couple of seconds to switch over, and I feel like that's an important choice, strategic choice that you have to make. Having just like one shell that's good at all the time, I feel like that is maybe dumbs down the game down a bit more. Yeah, 10 seconds is way too much, Brit Boy. I wouldn't say that much. Because that would screw you. 10 seconds is a huge amount of time. I think it should be maximum maybe 4 or 5 seconds. Too clunkily? I don't know. I think people will get used to it. Right. Greyhound. Munitions cost from armor skirts reduced. Bonus health from armor skirts reduced massively, actually. Greyhound is currently too durable, especially to light AT, making it impossible to kill, especially with where mobile built. Since the Greyhound is vastly superior to the 8 Red currently, it would make sense for it to come out a bit later. Do we agree with that change? I haven't seen too much Greyhound usage used against me, to be honest, but has a big nerf to its armor, though. Like 120 to 60. I think it's maybe a bit too drastic of a change. I agree, but like, let's say maybe make it to 80 or 90 first before doing a huge like double nerf to it. I agree, but maybe too much of a nerf to start with. Let's reduce to 90 first and then see. You know, maybe 90 or 80. Yeah, okay. Right, the Chaffee. Chaffee penetration reduced from 180 to 140, 130 to 100. Okay, so just nerfs all around. Chaffee can artillery library penetrate and barrel stuff medium tanks, making it spammable, especially with the armed battle group. This will still outperform its role as a light vehicle hunter, but make it less scalable against late game vehicles. Again, that's a pretty big nerf to it. Once again, yes, I agree. The Chaffee is probably too good at being a tank hunter, but again, that is a huge nerf. I don't know why there's always these huge nerfs that are being done. Let's be modest in the nerfs. Maybe instead of 180 to 140, let's go to 160. You know, let's just see how we go with a few, because then you might make it useless and then no one builds it. I agree, but once again, maybe too much of a nerf. Moderation, please. Right, fast deploy from CP costs. So this is the same thing we saw over vehicle production person. Double Jeep opener is far too oppressive from armor right now. Since both Jeeps are on the field and before the second action unit can be built, moving this to 1 CP would give the benefits of light vehicles to access player. And give them a little room to breathe in the first few minutes of the game. Yeah, since you can do the Vet 1 Jeep with this, right? Isn't that something you can do? Hang on. Is that, hang on, I can do, was it, reset battle group. Oh, wait, no. I can't choose a new battle group. Yeah, the vet 1 thing is... I feel like, yeah, I agree with that, because it should, you need... Because I played up against double vet 1 Jeep right at the start, and that was really nasty to deal with, which gave the allied player free map control, pretty much. And I couldn't really do much about it. Especially as like a Vermont player, you can't really punish that much at all. I agree with this. Let's go. War Machine. CP cost 2 to 3. To expel from the moment a player accesses motor pool, there needs to be a trade-off for heavily investing in vehicles before the Sherman Easy 8 comes out. Yeah, that makes sense. Sure. Seek and Destroy. Movement buff, speed buff reduced from 50 to 25. I think I remember. I haven't used Seek and Destroy personally in ages, but I think I'll just say I agree with that because I think it's too good. Again, maybe a bit too over nerf. Again, maybe too much of a nerf. Maybe too much of a nerf, though. Again. Right. Air Support Center Strafe. Strafe speed increased. The sense suppression was added. The strafe ability to delete units has been tempered. In order to increase the strafe's usefulness, it should arrive on target more quickly. Sure, but be too... okay, I agree with it, but again, I'm worried that might be too good now. Who knows? Airborne. Paratroopers. Access to Thompsons. And the M19s can now fire on the move. Only elite infantry in the game that can't fight LMGs on the move. No reason they shouldn't be able to, given their reliable, relatively low DPS profile for LMG unit. Secrecy optioning is lacking in the airborne battle group, while trying to use paratroopers as a main line would make for a more interesting choice when using paratroopers. They also can get bazookas, right? It's not. Don't remove the bazookas upgrade option as well. So I say yeah, why not? That sounds like a right, Yeah, I agree with that. Manpower cost is increased. 2 cheap in terms of manpower for cost per missions you gain. How much munitions you gain? I can't remember off the top of my head. But sure. Okay, I agree. Carpet bombing that's really good. 2 spam on team game, especially with how cheap the munitions drop is as well. Needs to be more opportunity for using this ability. Yes, I agree with I think the carpet bomb is really nasty. And it probably should be 200 munitions, yeah, sure. The Commander Flooring Knife ability. Knife thrown damage is increased to 145. Manpower cost decreased is 400. Kind of useless ability if it can't kill the target half the time against elites. A damage to 1-5 means that it will always kill... Oh, yeah, 100% of the... Yeah, that's good. But yeah, if you want to try and... Yeah, definitely think I would agree with that. Manpower cost as well. Yeah, I mean, they have got good utility since they can switch from their machine guns to their bazookas at any given time. But yeah, making them 40 manpower cheaper might make them more likely to get used. They are very expensive. Yeah, I think I also agree with the manpower cost because I do find that when they are always really expensive to try and get onto the field. Canister shot from what's this? Who uses canister shot? CS. Slightly damage, increase, fast or instant wind-up time. Mech support center. What uses canister shot? Oh, right. Okay. Slightly damaging. I think I've seen it, but yeah, I hardly ever use this. Instant wind up. Yeah, I think I agree, because I think when I have seen it being used, it didn't, it's way weaker than what it was in Code 2. Code 2 was probably too good, but yeah, I think it does need to, yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Repair station. Increase station to 10. Repair speed is too slow, justify pulling vehicles all the way back to base. Is a bit too slow. Yes, I agree with that. I mean, it is like a huge thing to pull your vehicle all the way back to base to get the heal in. But again, this might mean you don't need to rely on having to get yourself a combat engineer squad, an engineer squad out. So if you can just rely on the base HP heals, maybe too good then. These mines, the M1 and M6 mines, spotting of USF mines made clearer with Minesweep. Too difficult to spot, even when you have Sweeper. Yeah, I think I remember seeing them to be hard to spot. I agree with that. Yeah, they kind of blend into the terrain a bit. Right, we're finally on to the Brits. How long of this is? I feel like this is going to be like a 2 hour long video. Jesus Christ. Health increase and weapon costs buff. Health. Right, so the health increase is going up to 100. And then the munitions cost of Bren is decreased. You only get the single Bren, don't you, with it? It is quite a lot of munitions for a Bren, isn't it? I actually agree with that. Because, you know, I never like going Bren because it costs so much munitions. And I feel like I get you more utility out of going Recce section because of the flares. I feel like I you know... Bren's very expensive for not being able to find the move section. Stuff from Jupiter against Dak, specifically 6 shots to kill and bottle. It's not a huge increase of health. We've been given a purpose. Alright, let's see. Quiet down and listen. Yeah, 95 HP. Panzer Grenadiers are 100, so they'll make them the same. Time to march, boys. Come on. We go. I don't want to hear fucking words. Infantry sections. Is that fair though? Panzer Grenadiers is a 300. Infantry sections are 260, aren't they? That's quite big actually. So not only will infantry sections have the same HP as Grens, but they'll be 40 manpower cheaper. Riflemen are also 100. The Fox's finest here. I think like Panzer Grens probably scale better. Pay attention, lazy buggers. Ready, willing and able. Does the what's been something on? Present and accounted for, sir. They're upgrading us with a Bren. So the problem with going the Bren, it doesn't give you any extra utility though, right? When going Bren, you don't have, you lose the flare ability. You don't gain anything extra. Maybe you should gain a button or something. Maybe a slight slow. You could activate a button and slowly, maybe slow down a vehicle for a very short amount of time. Potentially something like that. Maybe it needs a bit more utility. But maybe that might make it to, give it more AT advantage, which it shouldn't have because it's more of a, you're going for it because it's purely anti-infantry. I don't know. Orders incoming. Okay, I'll say yes to this, but again, slightly concerned. It's not a huge buff to the infantry sections, but yeah, we'll see. The Dingo, firing arc increase. Very difficult to micro-unit because it's... oh god, yeah, 100%. The Dingo is one of the worst units for chasing retreating squads, I think, right? It's also the DAC motorcycle, I think. The DAC motorcycle is also terrible at chasing down squads. It always, has the worst... it wants to never fire, is taking forever to set up and shoot. I think that needs fixing as well. Humber, health increase. Too easy to lock down and counter with one snare and engine critical threats cost. It should be able to snare and escape if no other damage has been occurred. Yeah, I think so. I feel like the Humber could do with a little bit of a buff. It's a, you don't see it enough. I feel like this would make people maybe want to use it more. There's nothing here about the Stuart, and I feel like the Stuart probably could do with a bit more of a buff to its infantry capability, maybe slightly, because it just doesn't feel like really worth. Because you've got a tech for it. It just doesn't feel like great, the Stuart. Onto the Crusader. Global fuel base upgrade for Crusaders. 2s to 3s, reduce scatter by 20%. This will offer better scaling option for players who want to heavily invest in Crusader tanks. Rather than forcing to pay 60 missions for the upgrade every time, for a hidden run tank, it needs more punch against infantry. It's too difficult to make a good use of this vehicle right now before it's locked down or countered due to high scatter against infantry targets. So if it had the global upgrade to 6-pounder rather than its 2-pounder, then I wouldn't have... That would lock me out of having choice to split my Crusaders late game between... I want one Crusader on its 2-pounder and I want the rest on 6-pounder because I want to lead that 2-pounder one because I know it's going to be better against infantry. I'll have a faster firing rate. So I don't like this global fuel suggestion because I like having the option to be able to choose what type of Crusader I have, So... I still think they might be too good against infantry though, so I'm going to disagree with this. Yoink. I disagree because I like having the option throughout a match to. I disagree because I like having the option throughout a match to be able to choose when and where to upgrade 2-pounder to the 6-pounder gun. Okay, right, grants. No, do I agree with this? Do I still though agree with the scatter reduction? I don't know. Not sure. The scatter change either. Right, Matilda. Heavy tank swap with the M3 Grant. Matilda, with its very high armor and low scatter, making it very effective against infantry targets, should require the player to take to it before use in the late game. So it's swapping it with the Grant. Is that a good idea? Well, the Grant. Well, then the Grant has two barrels, which will also make it very good against infantry as well. I don't know. I don't think I agree with that either. What do you guys think about that, chat? Do you guys like the idea of swapping the Grant and the Matilda? So you'd have to tech up for the Matilda. I don't know. I feel like you should tech up for both, like what you do with the Stuart and the Bishop. I think because they're both good late game tanks. I mean, you're also taking up for the 17-pounder as well, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I disagree with this. I disagree. Because same issue could be said of the Grant being too good versus infantry as well, with both of its guns, and it would also be very good against armor. Yeah, I disagree with that. I think that would be a very bad choice. I don't agree with that at all, to be honest. Right, the Churchill. Reduce the scout by 20%. Performs poorly, is saying if it's for slow speed, needs better performance. Yeah, I agree with that. Black Prince, same speed as regular Churchill, same etc. Currently too slow. Considering it is, yeah, I agree with that. Considering you lock yourself out of going for other Churchills for this, and it's your like super powerful unit, it needs to be a bit of a buff, I think. And because it's slow as well, so yeah. Alright, we're now on to DAC finally, guys. Right, Panzerjägers. Snare duration increase and costs decrease as a buff. Snare duration increased from 3 to 5 seconds, munition costs reduced. Snare is the weakest in the game and most expensive. Needs to be adjusted since the snare was dramatically lower from 10 seconds to 3 seconds. Yeah, I felt like you should be rewarded if an enemy vehicle gets close enough. The problem is with the snare, when you pop the snare off with this, it blinds you as well. You can't see the unit to then follow up with a pack gun shot, I think, right? Because it's like a white phosphorus type shot, isn't it? Or am I incorrect in thinking that? So, hitting it with this also makes it harder for you to then do a follow-up shot. So it does need. I do agree with that buff change. I think, yeah, it got too much of a nerf. Front armor reduced. Concentrating small arms fire doesn't do quite enough to deter aggressive 250 play in the first couple of minutes. This will further incentivize players to purchase the 250 upgrade if they are planning to do a lot of 250 play in the early game. It can be quite too. Yeah, it's not. Okay, I agree with that. It's not a huge nerf. And 250 play is quite strong, so we'll see. Okay, flat variant no longer suppresses while on the move, or suppression reduced and penetration increased. Covering move speed debuff should not stack on vehicles that it hits. It stacks 10% move speed buffs per shot, causing target to slow and stand still with a burst. I agree with that, but I also would say I agree with this. but also I don't like how it pretty much insta-suppresses units. I think it needs to... I agree with this, but also I think it needs a slight nerf to how quickly it suppresses units. Especially... also... I was going to say special units in cover because it seems to be able to suppress units in cover pretty good as well. But that might just be my recent experience with the flat verveling shooting units in green cover, but the flat verveling's on higher ground, so it gets this, you know, like the unit's not in any cover at all. But I think I agree with that. Needs a range decrease? No, I don't think so. I think it's fine with its range. I just think it's maybe just a bit too good with its thing. Damage model cap increase from 2 to 3. Unit dramatically outclassed by the Greyhound and hard counter by a Stewart. It needs some shock glow value to make it too good. Potentially. But, I mean, I do agree with... Yeah, I agree with this because right now, most deck players just always go for the Fat Verling over the A-Rad because it has just way more... It's just better overall in terms of, like, it can shoot planes down. It can... it can suppress, the 8-Red can't. It can activate piercing rounds, so it's good at, you know, fighting light vehicles of its... You know, as well. So I think the 8-Rad needs a bit more love, I think, to make it more of a tasty option. Yeah, we're almost finished, R2. We're going to be going over this later on. I'll be putting more of this. I'll put it on YouTube if you missed the earlier stuff for this. Panzer 3. Right. Scatter Juice unit has the worst profile damage against infantry in the entire deck roster since the nerfs to tungsten. You said struggle. Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't feel like because you have to tech up to tier 4 to get Panzer 3 out. Like, I don't feel like it's so expensive to go for it when I could just rely on Carrows or use 8-Rads or Flairvelings instead. And you know, normally my build is just ignore tier 4 and just go Carrows and then Marders. You know, so I want there to be more worthwhile to going for Panzer 3s. The flag gun, weapon rotation, 20%. It doesn't. Is a bit slow. Yes, I would say. Yeah, go on then. Yeah, agree with that. Tiger, yeah, I said I would agree with that one as well. Same thing with the Tiger, buffing up its front llama. Right, Berserkers, right. Berserkers get a free Brenner model 30G from the battle group unlock. The second model remains a upgrade. Yeah, should make Brenners a more attractive option. Exactly, yeah, they removed the double Brenner upgrade, which I don't like. The Brenners, like, yeah, I agree with this. This is, yeah, I agree with that. Like, it was removed. It's a shame. Strange upgrade choice to remove, I think. Because remember, they don't... Berserkers don't have snare. And, you know... it's a risk, you know, it's a risky choice going for them when you know that they don't have that snare. So you should be rewarded for that risk by making them better anti-infantry, I think. Right. The L60 number of tanks reduced from 2 to 1. Change cost 20, 40, and 25 due to the tempo of these two on the vehicles. See, because they come out, there are too many instances of the game ending pushes where L6s. But the L6s just chase all your units to base as it's too difficult to field enough AT units when they come out to deter them from doing so. The unit itself performs fine, but the fact that there's two of them makes them almost impossible to deal with. By cutting the costs, reducing the call into one tank, it maintains its strength, allows deck play to invest into more of them, but it also gives the other players more time to prepare for them. Yeah, I think so. I think it's a fair... If that is literally half the cost of what it is, which I think it is, I think that's a good option. I like that, because then I can, you know, I'm not fully committing to go for so many of them. It's 20 manpower more, same fuel cost as it. I think that's good. It's kind of, you know, it's a bit, it might be slightly a nerf, but it might also be a buff as well. You know? Because you know, if it is 20 manpower more, but, you know, for cost of each tank, but you can call them out whenever, you know, one at a time. Then, you know, You can get it out sooner potentially because you're not having to save up as much manpower to get it out. You know, then it allows you to diversify your build maybe a bit more potentially as well. Yeah. The Caro, penetration reduced. Caros penetrate medium vehicles slightly too consistently and effective at making them spam them too rewarding at the moment. It allows them to consistently perform against light vehicles, but less effective against late game tanks. I don't know, man. Caros are weak as it is, but because they already got that nerf, didn't they? The Caros. I think it's not a huge nerf either. At the very least, I would make it from 75 to 70. Instead of 60, that should be 65. And then 60. You know, I think too much of a nerf. So I disagree, too much of a nerf. Thing is, though, they still have the extra pen ability, but I feel like it's maybe too. So if this change is done, would that mean that they would bounce every time on like a Sherman, and the only time that they would pen is if they're using their armor piercing shell upgrade, because that would be making it very costly for munitions to do that every time you have an engagement with enemy tanks. But you also have got the tungsten shell upgrade in the armory, so maybe I don't know. I think it's too much of a nerf. Too much of a nerf, I think, considering Caros were already nerfed. At the very least. It should be 70. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know if they need a nerf, actually. I'm not even gonna say that. I don't think that. Right, veteran squads. Manpower cost back to 250 to 200. Well, the deck pattern now having to pay for the extra model, this upgrade should have its cost reduced. We also need more clear tooltips on what one does. Yes, I agree. Yeah. Have to pay for the extra unit. It should be back to 200. Yeah. Right, then armor reserve. Damage buff damage increase buff. Remove infantry squads from armor reserve upgrades. Reduce manpower costs accordingly. Maybe 200 manpower for Stugs. 600 for 2 P3s, 400 for P4, reduced target cost, match Ver. That late game is questionable, and the armor reserve options is largely to blame for this. The fact that you're paying large swaths of manpower for your most valuable resources in the late game for mechanized unit, and a squad that is going to be largely a liability as a vanilla squad with no veterancy makes AR a terrible late game armor reserve late game option. The target is way too expensive. 100% agree with this. I think this is a really good change. It's kind of crazy that, you know, whenever you call these in, you're getting that extra infantry squad that is, like, as it says, is vanilla. It's not going to have too much of an impact. I agree with this massively. I literally never do. I never use the. I don't know how if you guys do it, but I literally never do the other call-ins. If I ever go for the other armor reserves, I'm going for the Tiger, and that's it. I never go for the other options. Are just not worth going for. But yeah, 100% agree with this. Need to make it more appealing to go for the other stuff, I think. Right. I don't think I've ever used the Panzer IV or the Stuck call-in, to be honest. I don't think I've ever done it. Yeah, I never use it. I'm pretty sure I don't. Right, we're on to the Panzerstorm. Remove immunity to engine criticals. Movement speed buff is also a bit too much of a nerf to that. Maybe remove the engine criticals. Movement speed steroids are already too strong in this game and completely break the vehicle dynamics. Removing engine criticals make it impossible to punish a player who's willing to rush in with this ability active. Yeah, I would remove. I agree, but don't. Yeah, I agree with. Agree with removing engine criticals. But not with the heavy nerf to movement speed. I'm also thinking maybe make it so that like heavy engine damage criticals can't happen, but like slows can happen. Like you can Faust and it'll get a slow, it'll provide the slow to it, but a second Faust would not give it a heavy engine damage critical. What would you guys think about that? I think like if it hit a mine, you should still get like, you know, if a vehicle rushes in and it hits a mine with that active, it should still receive an engine damage, right? So I think heavy engine damage should still be in, but maybe like yeah, actually, I agree with removing heavy engine criticals, but not with light vehicle slows. Actually, also the heavy nerf to movement speeds is too much. Also, the heavy nerf to movement speed is too much. Yeah. Because again, you're spending that resource, you're spending a lot of munitions to get that bonus, so you should be rewarded for executing a good play like that. But you should still make sure you're checking for mines. You shouldn't just hit a mine and still shrug it off. That doesn't make no sense. Yeah, I think it's, something like that. There needs to be a midway point there, I think. Right, then concealment. Concealment rework for most infantry. Concealment duration when leaving seconds for cover for 4 to 2 seconds. Snipers and commanders only units to retain their 4 seconds. Cloak out of cover should be 4 seconds long to reduce. I think this is global stuff now. Yeah, here we go. Cloak out of cover should be 4 seconds long to reduce. Right, so yeah, I think I agree with that for for the most part. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Maybe the exception being maybe AT squads that probably should reveal themselves immediately. Possibly with the exception of AT camo squads. Where they immediately become revealed after moving from camo. Yeah. Right. Smokes. Vehicle smoke now costs. Yeah, there's very little opportunity cost for using vehicle smokes for any faction at the moment. Making players pay for these smokes will make them more thoughtful about using them. Yeah, I agree. It's silly. Being able to have, if it's free, then you just will use it at any opportunity you have, right? So, yeah. I think there's a bit too many free abilities, to be honest. Demo charges need some kind of highlight icon around them when detected, as they are too difficult to see when swept. Yeah, I agree with that, but I would also make rifleman squad can no longer. Yeah, that was what I also said, didn't I, earlier? What do we think about we're allowing to plant demos with mines for like a one shot? Is that too strong? There be a change there so that mines and demos can't be combined to get a really nasty hit. But I mean, you are also the counter argument to that is that you are investing a lot of munitions into one spot. If it fails, that's a lot of munitions down the drain. I agree with this. But also, I would suggest demos to be revealed once you are on top of them, regardless if you have a sweeper or not. I think, because then you'd be like, "Oh shit, I can run away," and then it's on, and then it's your own. Then it's your own fault if you're the demo player for not triggering the demo in time. Because it's then on the demo player to be quick to react then. Make mines one-shot lights? No, dude, that's too crazy. I mean, you already get mines that one-shotting Jeeps and Ketting crowds and stuff in the game. You don't want to mind one shot in a Caro or a Greyhound or anything like that. We haven't got tellers in this game at the moment. We got, I think, what is the strongest mine we have in the game? The M. Does the Greyhound plant a mine? No, it doesn't, does it? I don't think we have tellers, do we? Or Regal mines or anything like that. There is tellers. What can plant tellers? What can plant tellers? Back with battle group. Ah. I never used the gustatory battle group systems. I need to try more commanders out. I need to check it out. Anyway. Right then, let's go on to the Paradrop units. So these all C Paradrops now have a 30-second cooldown at the start of a match. The momentum provided by superheroes can make matches quite one-sided if utility effective in most game modes that we've seen. Right. This is an interesting one. I kind of like I don't know, I kind of like how it is at the moment because it gives you some interesting openings, but at the same time, like, you know, having a full pyro drop right on your cutoff, building a fighting nest, or like jumping into a building on your cutoff in certain maps is super freaking strong and nasty to deal with. Oh, I don't know. I feel like the MG isn't as bad because at least you can flank the MG, right? You know? You can see it coming in. You know for 100% certainty what the unit is where it's being power dropped in right now. So that's, you know, the bonus to fighting against it. You know what you're up against. Maybe in the future when maybe more Serum CP power drop call-ins are available, if that is a thing, then you won't know, and then it'll make it harder to figure out what you're up against. But at the moment you do. Yes, have a 30-second cooldown at the start of the match. I don't know. I'm going to disagree with it because I know it's a strong opening, but you're committing to an opening as well, right? You know, it gives your whole game plan away when you do something like this. And it can be countered. You could like rush a jeep, right? You know, also if it's open map, you can rush a jeep or a vehicle right up against the machine gun or maybe the squad. Things though, and also fighting this can be, you know, in team games especially, can be easily countered. You just get a mortar out, and they can't sit there; they die. If they sit in the fighting this, they die, and you could just ignore it and go elsewhere and cap the other side of the map while waiting for your mortar to come out, kind of thing. So yeah, because we had a game the other day, like yesterday, when some guy did that, and that fighting nest was dealt with very quickly. So I will disagree with this because I kind of think this is a unique, cool thing with Co3 with giving different kind of openings. I think I disagree because I think these openings allow for different starts to matches, and nerfing this would make these battle groups less appealing. Yeah. This is the community doing this. Emplacement health increased from 480 to 800, so that's all these things. So yep, I as I was saying earlier, 100% agree with this. Placements are way too squishy right now. Especially because they can't move. Yeah. Infantry flamethrowers can only fire the move. Elite flamers are way too oppressive when firing on the move, especially with the current refire bug when killing a model. These weapons are massively more effective than any other. Yeah, I mean, Rangers firing on the move. Gustatory, I think, maybe could do it as well. So I think I agree with this, yeah. Towing. Allow vehicles to attach to for any angle. Yeah, it might look janky. I think I read this before, yeah, but I agree with that because towing can be awkward sometimes. I would also add here that certain vehicles, I agree with this, I would add here that I think it's the Opel Blitz should be able to tow, I think, as well. Like, yeah, I would add here that the DAC med truck should also be able to tow because the CMP med truck can as well. I think that's not fair. I think that, you know, because it's annoying that, I mean, I guess the 250s can tow, but I feel like the med truck should also be able to tow. And it's a risky thing that you're doing, maybe pushing the med truck into the front line to tow, so there's the risk involved in that as well, because you don't really want to lose your med truck, but, you know. How about with, like, what about the CMP truck that gets upgraded to the flat gun upgrade? Should that be able to, does that still tow? I would add here that the DAT med truck should be able to tow, because the CMP med truck can as well. Also, furthermore, towing can be buggy, as you will sometimes reinforce onto the weapon you want to tow when you only want to tow the weapon. Yeah, and that needs to be fixed. Because it's like, let's say you're pop capped, right? But there's a Flak 88 that you want to steal. You could go up with your med truck, you want to be able to tow it and yeet it out of there, and then you can leave it in your base so that when you do have pop cap available, when your teammates can grab it, that would be a good thing there to grab. Hey Havoc, thank you for the raid, mate. How you doing? We're just going through these balance changes. We're almost finished here. But yeah, we're just going through this. I'm curious. I know you've probably put some comments in here. I haven't actually read anyone else's suggestions here as well. But I'm curious what you think about this, Havoc. Hey Momo, how you doing, guys? So with the towable thing, yeah, I agree with the change to make it easier to tow things. But would you also agree that the DAC med truck should be able to tow, and also the fact that, you know, towing, you probably also maybe experienced when you're trying to tow something, it automatically reinforces it when you don't want to reinforce it. You just want to nick it, because if you reinforce it, you'll break your population cap and it'll mess you up. But you might just want to nick the gun to use it at a later date. So that's what I would like to see. I like, you know, because I know you can nick some things and not actually reinforce it, but I think it can be buggy sometimes when you just want to. Maybe the mouse icon should change to like a link symbol instead, so you know 100% that you're going to tow it and not reinforce it. Because I have done that multiple times where I've accidentally reinforced it onto it when I just want to tow it. So yeah. Breach animation is increased by 25. Yeah, that, you know, 100%. I think it's way too slow. Maybe even increased by 50%. It's just way too slow. I agree with this. Maybe even 50% faster. It's just way too slow. Axis stacking defensive passives. Defensive bonuses from Vermach designated defensive line can no longer stack with DAC's prepared position. Placing DAC weapons in defensive aura allows them to absorb tremendous amount of damage. The DAC Flag A8 gun team can absorb US carpet bomb and live without dying. It's quite strong, actually. That is the case, then. Yeah, sure. Okay, we've done it. We've gone through the whole list. There's a few things that's not been mentioned here, like about the pioneers, that I would like to add. So guys, that's the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did and want more content, check up over here and over here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, make sure to click the button down here. To catch the next video, guys, take care, and I'll see you soon.